Your past is not who you are. It's only a chapter, a moment in the book of your life. It may be a painful chapter. It may be a dark one. It may even be a chapter full of mistakes, regret, and failure, but that does not define you. Just because you were in survival mode doesn't mean you weren't strong up. Just because you made some wrong turns doesn't mean you're not worthy of a new direction. Too many people let the opening scenes of their lives control the rest of the movie. But here's what you have to understand. The chapter was real, but it's not the whole story. You're still here. You're still breathing. That means you've got more pages to write. Some of you grew up in homes where love was missing, where encouragement was rare, where survival was a daily mission. And that pain etched itself into your heart. Maybe your environment told you you'd never be anything. Maybe they laughed at your dreams. Maybe they told you your story was already written, that you had to play the hand you were dealt. But I'm telling you, that's a lie. That's a lie the world wants you to believe, so you stay where you are. You are not what they said you were. You are not the pain. You are not the failure. You are not the trauma. You are not the dropout, the loser, the broken one. You are not the addiction. You are not the bad decisions you made when you didn't know better. You are not that chapter. You are the author. You have to start seeing your life as a story, not a sentence. And stories change. Plots twist. Characters grow. Heroes rise. There's not a single great story out there without some adversity. Every good story has tension. Every powerful character has faced the storm and found a way through. The only difference between the stories we celebrate and the ones we forget is that some people kept writing. They didn't give up. They didn't let the pain be the final word. They took control of the pen. And you can too. You got to stop living like the story's already over. You got to stop carrying shame like it's your identity. Yes, you messed up. So what? We all have. But now it's time to grow up. Now it's time to level up. You don't rewrite your story by pretending the past didn't happen. No, you acknowledge it, you learn from it, and then you flip the page. What you don't do is get stuck rereading it over and over again. That's where people get trapped. They wake up every day emotionally stuck in a moment that's already gone. They keep living in a memory instead of moving forward into a mission. They let the scars talk louder than the future. But I'm telling you, today, right now, you can stop rereading and start rewriting. You need to hear this. Just because your beginning was broken doesn't mean your ending can't be beautiful. You might have started life in a pit, but doesn't mean you can't rise to the palace. You might have had people walk out on you. Good. That means they don't deserve to be in your next chapter. You might have been the one who doubted yourself the most. Fine. Now it's time to become the version of yourself that believes again. It's time to talk to yourself differently. Start telling yourself, I am more than my past. I am not my mistakes. I am not done. Look around. Some of the most powerful people in the world came from nothing. They didn't have privilege. They didn't have money. And they didn't have a blueprint. What they did was hunger. What they had was fire. What they had was a decision to write a new story. You don't need everyone to believe in you. You don't need the perfect setup. What you need is a made-up mind that says, I'm not letting that chapter define me. You may have written some chapters in pain, but now it's time to write in purpose. It's time to make the next part of your story the part that shocks the world. Think about it. What kind of story are you writing right now? What do your actions say? What do your habits reflect? Are you writing the story of a champion or the story of a victim? Are you still stuck in chapter 3 when you should be on chapter 10? Are you waiting on someone else to come save you? Because here's the truth. No one's coming to write it for you. You are the writer. You are the writer. You are the creator. You are the one with the power. So when the voice in your head tells you, you can't, you tell it, oh, watch me. When it says, you've always been like this, you say, that was then. This is now. When it tries to remind you of all your failures, you're reminded that every success story starts with failure. You're reminded that you've been through hell, but you kept walking. You kept showing up. And now you're writing something different. You're not just rewriting your story. You're about to inspire someone else to rewrite theirs. If you want the next part of your life to look different, then you have to do something different. Stop rereading the same broken script and start writing the future you deserve. You got the pen. Now do something with it. Stop waiting. Stop hoping somebody else will step in and change your life. That's not how this works. You are not a background character in your own story. You're not here to play small, to survive, to let other people write your script. You're here to lead, to rise, to create, to rise, to create. And the only way you do that is by taking the pen into your own hands and rewriting the narrative that's been limiting you for too long. Because if you don't write it, someone else will. And they'll write it based on their fears, their doubts, their opinions of you, not the truth of what you're capable of. So I need you to wake up and realize it's not that you don't have power. It's that you haven't owned it yet. But today that changes. From this moment on, you own the pen. You were born with the ability to rewrite, to reinvent, to rise. But somewhere along the line, life tried to take that pen from you. Maybe it was the way your parents talked to you, or the way teachers dismissed your dream, or the way your friends laughed when you opened up about what you really wanted. Maybe you internalized all of it. Maybe you started believing you weren't good enough. You stopped dreaming. No, you stopped fighting. You stopped writing. And you started living by someone else's definition of who you were supposed to be. But let me remind you of something. They don't get to decide that. They never did. You gave them permission when you let them speak louder than your own voice. It's time to take that permission back. You don't have to accept the labels people gave you. You don't have to carry their words like truth. If they say you're a failure, you get to prove them wrong. Not by arguing, not by reacting, but by living in such a way that your success screams louder than their judgment ever could. If they say you never amount to anything, let your actions make them eat those words. If they say you don't belong, show them what happens when someone determined refuses to be denied. This is not about proving them wrong. It's about proving yourself right. It's about taking control of your identity, your direction, and your destiny. And you do that by owning the pen. You see, we live in a world that wants to define you by statistics, by systems, by history. They want to box you in by where you came from, what you look like, how much money you have, how many mistakes you've made. But you are not a statistic. You are not your circumstances. You are a force. You are a creator. You are a living story that is still being written. And when you understand that, you stop living on autopilot. You stop just reacting to life and start designing it. Every choice you make, every day you show up, every decision you commit to, that's you writing. That's you taking back control. That's you refusing to let the world write your obituary when your masterpiece hasn't even started yet. Some of you have dreams inside you so big, they scare you, and that's good. That means they're real. But you've been afraid to write them into your story because you don't see how it's possible. You've been talking yourself out of them, editing your vision to fit other people's comfort zones. But dreams aren't supposed to be safe. They're supposed to stretch you, challenge you, transform you. And if you wait for the perfect moment to start, it'll never come. The only thing you need to begin rewriting your story is a decision to take the pen, a decision to stop hiding, a decision to stop living by default and start living by design. You don't need all the answers. You just need a reason. And if you've been through pain, if you've been through struggle, if you've been overlooked or underestimated, that's your reason. Because the pen belongs to the one with the most fight, the one who refuses to quit, the one who knows that legacy doesn't come from what you inherit. It comes from what you build. It comes from writing a new ending when the world expected you to stay broken. It comes from shifting the narrative when everyone assumed you were done. You have to be bold enough to say, that might have been my story then, but it's not my story now. And then act like it. Live like it. Speak like it. Don't just wish for change. Be the change. Rewrite every single lie you believe. Replace it with truth. Replace it with grind. Replace it with grind. Replace it with faith. You don't need people to understand you. You don't need them to agree. You just need to write. Loud. Unapologetic. Relentless. This is your moment. This is a part of the story where you take control. Not tomorrow, not next year, right now. Every day you stay silent. Every day you hesitate. You're giving away your power. But every day you wake up and choose to keep writing. No matter how messy the process, no matter how slow the progress, that's how greatness is built. Not all at once, but line by line, choice by choice, day by day. The pen is yours. Use it. Pain is not your enemy. Show proof that you're still in the fight. The world has sold us a lie that pain means weakness, that struggle means failure. That hardship means you're cursed. But the truth is, pain builds purpose. Every trial, every setback, every heartbreak, every tear, it's part of the blueprint for your breakthrough. You don't become strong in comfort. You don't grow in easy seasons. You don't become powerful by being pampered. You become powerful when life hits you and you hit back harder. You become powerful when you fall 7 times and get up 8. The difference between people who make it and people who don't is not that the successful never felt pain. It's that they learned how to use it. You've got to stop running from the pain and start learning from the pain and start learning from it. Some of the most incredible chapters in your life haven't even been written yet because you've been too afraid to revisit the pain that's trying to teach you something. There's a message in your scars. There's wisdom in your wounds. But you won't find it if all you do is cover them up and pretend they never happened. Stop trying to hide your brokenness. That's your power. That's your testimony. That's what connects you to people. You weren't made to be perfect. You were made to be real. And real people go through real things, but they come out of them with real lessons and a real fire inside that nothing can put out. Think about the most inspiring people you know, the ones whose stories make you want to get up and fight. Did they have it easy? No, they had pain. They had disappointment. They were betrayed, abandoned, doubted. But they didn't let that be the end of the story. They turned their pain into fuel, into drive, into reason, into purpose. Some of them came from broken homes. Some of them lost everything. Some of them were addicted, rejected, overlooked, and counted out. But instead of folding, they focused. Instead of quitting, they questioned, what can I learn from this? And in that moment of decision, they took control of their story. You've got pain in your life right now that's begging to be turned into purpose. Maybe you were left by someone you loved. Maybe you failed at something that mattered to you. Maybe you're fighting battles in silence that nobody knows about. That pain is real. That hurt is real. But it's not there to destroy you. It's there to develop you. Every tear you've cried is watering something deep inside you. Something strong, something rooted, something that can't be shaken. You're not being buried, you're being planted. And when you rise, you'll rise stronger. With more empathy, more resilience, more passion than you ever thought possible. People talk about destiny like it's a magical moment that just shows up. But destiny is built in the dark. It's forged in fire. You don't find your calling without going through something that breaks you down and forces you to rebuild from the ground up. The version of you that can handle the dream, the success, the legacy, that version is born in the pain. That version is shaped by sleepless nights, silent prayers, lonely hours, and unshakable decision. If you skip the pain, you skip the process. And if you skip the process, you'll never carry the power you were created to walk in. So instead of asking, why me? Start asking, what now? Instead of saying, I can't take this, start saying, I was made for this, because you were. That pain you're going through, someone else needs your story. Someone else needs your survival. Someone else is watching you and waiting to see how you respond. And when you rise, they'll rise. When you speak, they'll listen. When you keep going, they'll find the courage to keep going too. That's how pain builds purpose. It connects us. It activates us. It transforms us. And no, this isn't about pretending the pain feels good. It's not about smiling through the storm or ignoring your emotions. It's about owning your pain, honoring it, using it as a platform, not a prison. It's about turning that pressure into purpose, that weight into worth, that suffering into story, because pain is a teacher. And if you pay attention, it will teach you how to rise, how to lead, how to love deeper, fight harder, and speak with more conviction than you ever have before. You've got to change your mindset. Pain doesn't mean stop. It means dig deep. It means there's something in you that's being refined. Gold doesn't shine without fire. Diamonds don't form without pressure. And greatness doesn't emerge without adversity. You want to inspire? Then stop hiding your scars. Show them. Tell your story. Tell the truth about what you've been through and how you're still standing. That's where the real power is. Not in perfection, but in perseverance. So the next time you feel like giving up, the next time life punches you in the gut and tells you it's over, I want you to remember something. Pain is not your punishment. It's your process. Every day you wake up, you got a choice to make. You can keep living inside the limitations of who you've been, or you can step into the possibility of who you can become. That choice doesn't belong to your past. It doesn't belong to your mistakes, your upbringing, your losses, or your failures. Or that choice belongs to you. You are not locked into your old story unless you keep repeating it. Every time you tell yourself, this is just how I am, or nothing ever works out for me, or people like me don't make it, you're reinforcing the very walls that are holding you back. And those walls, they aren't real. They're built from repetition, thoughts, words, habits that have trained your mind to believe a lie. But the truth is, you have the power to shift. You shift by changing your thoughts. You shift by challenging the narratives you've been handed. Maybe your story up to this point has been full of pain, doubt, confusion, and self-sabotage. Maybe you've told yourself you'll never change, that you'll always be stuck. But that's not true. That's programming. And the good news is anything programmed can be reprogrammed. You don't need a miracle to change your life. You need a decision. You don't need everyone to support you. You need clarity. You don't need permission. You need action. You need action. Transformation doesn't come in one big step. It comes from choosing day by day, moment by moment, to think differently, act differently, and live differently. Let go of the idea that the old you has to come with you. That version of you, the one who procrastinated, doubted, feared, delayed, quit, that version served a purpose once. It helped you survive. But survival is no longer the goal. Truth is, purpose is. They reach those you've got to shed. Shed the beliefs that no longer serve you. Shed the behaviors that sabotage your progress. Shed the people who don't support your elevation. Sometimes the weight that's holding you back isn't light. It's the version of you keep dragging along because you're too afraid to release it. You can't rewrite your story if you're still loyal to your old habits. You can't be transformed if you're still committed to your old mindset. Real change happens when you get honest. Not surface level honest, but gut level, soul searching honest. Ask yourself, what am I doing that's keeping me stuck? That question is powerful because it forces you to take ownership. It forces you to stop blaming the world, your childhood, your lack of resources, and start focusing on what you can control. That's where the breakthrough lives, in responsibility. As long as you keep pointing fingers, you're powerless. But the moment you say, "Let's mind a change," that's when you take the pen back. That's when you step into authorship of your life. Transformation starts in the dark, in private, in silence. It's not glamorous. It's not quick. It's not easy. But it's real. It happens when you choose not to hit snooze, when you shut off the distraction, when you say no to temporary pleasure for long-term power. It happens in the gym when no one's watching, in your journal when you're facing your own thoughts, in the mirror when you finally stop lying to yourself. That's the real work, and it's hard. But that's also why it's worth it. Because most people will never do it. Most people will keep waiting for external change to come fix internal chaos. But not you. You're different. You're deciding to be the cause, not the effect. You're deciding to become the creator, not the victim. And understand this. Change doesn't mean you have to hate who you've been. It means you love yourself enough to become more. Growth isn't rejection, it's elevation. The pain, the habits, the limitations, they were part of your story, but they're not the final chapter unless you let them be. You honor your past by growing beyond it. You respect your struggle by refusing to stay stuck in it. Every version of you up to now has done what it could with what it knew. But now you know better. Now you see clearer. Now it's time to act. The old version of you got you here, but it won't get you there. Let people talk. Let them doubt. Let them say you've changed. That's the goal. You're not here to stay the same. You're here to evolve. And evolution means discomfort. It means some people won't recognize you anymore. It means some relationships won't survive. That's okay. Not everyone deserves a seat at your next level. Stop apologizing for outgrowing environments that kept you small. You don't owe anyone an explanation for your healing, your ambition, or your transformation. Your story isn't finished. You're not behind. You're not too late. You're right on time for the next chapter. But the page doesn't turn on its own. You have to write it. You have to show up even when it's hard. You have to move forward even when you're fried. You were not born to blend in. You were not created to be average, to follow the crowd, to dim your light so others feel comfortable. Deep inside of you is a calling, a fire, a voice that keeps whispering, there's more for you. And the reason it won't go away, the reason you can't silence it, no matter how hard you try, is because it's the truth. You were made to stand out. You were designed to make an impact. But you can't rise to your potential if you keep shrinking to fit the mold. At some point, you've got to stop apologizing for being different. You got to stop explaining your dreams, minimizing your voice, and doubting your uniqueness. Your difference is not your weakness, it's your superpower. Too many people spend their lives trying to be a copy of someone else. They chase trends, they compare timeline, they measure themselves against people who don't even know who they are. But you will never win someone else's race. You will never find fulfillment trying to replicate another person's path. True greatness doesn't come from imitation. It comes from authenticity, from standing in who you are, even when it's uncomfortable, from walking the path that's yours, even when it doesn't make sense to others, from trusting that your vision is valid, even if no one claps for it yet. You don't have to wait for permission to be powerful. You don't have to wait for validation to move forward. Most people won't understand your journey because it's not theirs to understand. That dream that's in your heart, that purpose that keeps waking you up at 2 a.m., that idea that keeps tugging at your spirit is yours. And that means it's your responsibility to build it, to believe in it, to protect it from the noise of the world. You don't need everyone to agree. You just need to be committed, relentlessly, unapologetically committed to the version of yourself that only you can become. Every person who has ever made a real impact, every leader, every creator, every visionary, they all had to go against the grain. They all had to be misunderstood, criticized, judged, but they didn't let that stop them. They didn't shrink. They didn't settle. They showed up boldly again and again, even when they were the only ones who believed. And eventually the world caught up. That's how it works. The world resists difference until it's undeniable. You want to be undeniable? Then you've got to be unshakable in your identity. Stop trying to fit into rooms that weren't built for you. Stop molding yourself to match the expectations of people who wouldn't understand your purpose if it stared them in the face. Your job is not to be liked, it's to be authentic. Your job is not to fit in, it's to rise above. The moment you stop betraying yourself to belong, everything shifts. Everything shifts. Confidence grows. Purpose gets clearer. Doors open. Why? Because when you align with who you truly are, the world begins to reflect that energy back to you. You attract opportunities that match your identity, not your disguise. And I get it's not easy. Being different means you'll be doubted. It means you'll be lonely sometime. It means you'll question yourself. But every time you resist the urge to shrink, you strengthen the muscle of authenticity. Every time you choose to show up as your true self, even when it's uncomfortable, you reclaim your power. The world doesn't need more people who conform. It needs more people who lead. More people who live fully, love deeply, and stand bold. That's what you were made for. And deep down, you know that your story is not meant to look like anyone else's. You have a unique combination of experiences, gifts, wounds, talents, and wisdom that no one else carries. That means you have a responsibility to live in a way that honors that. Don't waste time trying to erase your differences to become a normal. Normal never changed the world. It's the outliers, the misfits, the misunderstood who create revolutions because they see things differently. And if you see things differently, it's because you're meant to. Trust that. Every time you lean into your uniqueness, you give others permission to do the same. You become a mirror, a message, a movement. Your story doesn't have to be perfect to be powerful. It just has to be true. The world is waiting on someone bold enough to live without a mask. Someone brave enough to speak with their real voice. Someone relentless enough to rise without apology. That someone is you. So stop watering yourself down. Stop hiding behind excuses. Stop acting like you're average. You are not here to repeat history. You're here to make it. Every moment you embrace your identity, you take back the pen. Every time you honor your truth, you rewrite your story. Not as a follower, not as a copy, but as an original. An original who was never meant to blend in, meant to stand out, stand firm, and stand tall.